8 months ago, I purchased a 1994 Bigfoot 611 truck camper with the intention of a simple renovation. Between build sprints, we spent time together in the mountains and deep in the desert getting to know each other. And today, I'm proud to finally announce that the build is done, and I'm ready to take you all on a first look. First things first, let's take a peek at the truck and its upgrades. If you'd like to skip ahead to the interior, feel free to jump to this time right here down below, and I will see you in there. In November of 2022, I purchased this 4x4 Toyota Tundra 2006 4.7 liter V8 double cab with just enough space for myself, my dog, and all of our gear. Now, I just want to preface by saying that my budget was kind of tight when it came to this build, and so I didn't go with anything super high-end or fancy, but I was able to upgrade things like my suspension and my bumpers without incurring too much of a cost. My suspension was replaced with Rancho coilovers. Those ended up adding a 2.5-inch lift to the truck, which I was looking for just to try to get that higher clearance. And on that note, also upgraded my bumpers with some coastal off-road high clearance first gen Tundra bumpers. Those bumpers made room for some 34-inch Falcon Wild Peak tires, which I chose over the KO2s amongst other brands just because of their durability and performance in kind of those intermittent seasons. Now, in terms of storage, the double cab definitely expanded my ability to store gear for my dog and I, but the rear seats really infringed on that capacity. And so just a few weeks ago, I decided to remove the back seats and replace them with a self-fabricated storage and dog bed area. This has allowed me to not only mount my bike and store my gear, but also gives my dog a much more secure platform to rest on during long drives. And since we're still outside, let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the camper. Now, due to its condition upon purchase, most of the exterior components and all of its additions are definitely massive upgrades. Most of these jobs were a necessity, whether they were weak points, little leaks, rot, or simply inefficient windows. All of these were an all-in renovation project, not a simple coat of paint. And so if you want to watch that, all my trials and tribulations, you can go ahead and click here to see more of the truck build itself. And one last mention while we're outside is the solar. When I purchased the camper, it had a singular 200-watt panel up top with 0 protections. Since then, I've replaced that one panel with 3 others. One 250-watt and 2 100-watt panels from New Power, which all run into the internal camper electrical system that I will show you all in a few minutes. And that said, let's head inside. My focus inside of the camper was to keep things as light and efficient as possible. Considering that, I knew that I wanted to remove a few heavy and inefficient objects in areas of the camper, such as a rear full-height cabinet and a heavy power conversion box, which allowed me to extend my prep space to the back wall and allowed for more storage in the kitchen. Having learned from past builds, I knew that a permanent cooktop was a necessity if I wanted to eat well, and I was able to manage both a double burner cooktop and an 18 wide by 18-inch deep sink with a full-length overhead cabinet on the driver's side. The lower cabinets were made from 9-ply birch plywood and utilized a flush-mounted drawer and door system to maintain as wide of a walkway as possible. Honestly though, the grain match just also looked super cool. I extended the seating area to accommodate my dog, who loves her independence and typically sleeps down here. Additionally, I installed a Lagoon swivel mount table for a work and meal space, which tucks nicely under my new Dickinson Newport Marine propane heater. This system is honestly way bigger than my truck camper needed, but a friend came through and it just made sense to utilize this propane heating system since I already had propane integrated for my propane 2-burner cooktop. And so I'll probably be using it at best intermittently throughout the winter. Below the seating area, I also have a shoe and book cubby nestled below my dog's personal storage area, which yes, she has, because she has a lot of toys and kind of high maintenance long-haired dog tools that I like to utilize on a very regular basis. Now, as we move towards the cab of the truck, the shining stars of this truck camper build really start to come through. Having built 2 other rigs prior to this one, I am very aware of my needs in terms of power and water, which definitely took precedent when planning this build. The camper can comfortably hold 16 gallons of fresh water, stores a 4.8 cubic foot fridge for fresh and frozen food, and is able to store 4 seasons worth of clothes for all of the adventures that we regularly take on. This region also stores my power, which in quick facts contains a 2000 watt inverter, a 40 amp hour MPPT, a 200 amp hour lithium ion battery, and the option of a DC to DC charger. Now, considering that I have 450 watts plus on the roof and only a 200 amp hour battery, so far that battery to battery charger has not been necessary, but in winter, if I plan to spend time in some snowy or cloudy months, I will probably end up utilizing that option, and so it's in there for now, but not fully installed. Now, the Bigfoot can comfortably accommodate a full-size bed, which gratefully means that I am not only able to sleep comfortably up here with my dog, but I'm also able to store my down sleeping bag in the spare inches before the front of the camper. Additionally, I installed 2 much larger Arctic Tern double pane windows in the bunk space, which allows for an exceptional amount of airflow at night. And if needed, I can also run this 12-volt fan from Sirocco to increase the amount of airflow on those hot summer days. And finally, one of my favorite features that actually came original to this camper, though has been replaced with a newer version, is the hatch above the bed. Even on cold nights, I usually end up cracking this to take a peek at the stars and fall asleep to the sound of crickets. Now, having built out a van and school bus prior, I will say that this was definitely the most challenging to date, even though it was just a renovation, which originally I thought would be easier. But blood, sweat, and tears went into this build, and it is by far our most homey home, the one that feels most like us, and the one that I'm most excited to get back on the road and share our journey with you all. Which, speaking of, we're planning on doing next week. And so if you enjoyed the build series, if you enjoyed today's tour, I'd highly recommend that you hit that subscribe button down below to follow our journey onto roads less traveled and into the future. And before we go, I just want to give a special thanks to not only all of you who have been here since the beginning, or maybe new subscribers who found us along the way, but also to my parents, who lended me their driveway in my mid to almost late 20s to build out what I think is my dream home and pursue my wildest dreams. Thank you both, and thank you all for supporting us along the way. We'll see you down the road next Sunday.